Okay, I'm now with Phil Otterson, Executive Vice President, Tauck World Discovery. Phil, the Tauck are probably the largest upmarket coach operator in the world in terms of outbound tourism.
That is correct. Headquartered in the United States, our customers come from the U.S. primarily, but from many European countries and South Pacific, South Africa. Largest upmarket tour operator, with a very big emphasis on Europe, which is why I'm here.
What practical steps do you think that associates here in Europe, and particularly the UK, can make to continue to attract North Americans?
Well, it is difficult, I must say, especially because of the exchange rate. Extra value, added value, strong negotiations on rate, understanding, I think, that if you're a supplier or a hotelier or offering a service in the UK and you want to increase your American business, you have to be cost conscious, regardless of where you are in the marketplace, from all the way to the top to all the way to the middle. That extra challenge is coupled by the fact that it's, when thinking about our tour operator market, it's relatively easy for Americans to come to the UK on their own, even without the assistance of a travel provider with an online package, because there's a perceived and a reality based on the fact that there's not a lot of cultural differences, no language barriers. Thank God you drive on the other side of the street. That helps us a little bit. But it's a difficult decision. It's a difficult buying decision for the consumer right now because it's expensive and because there aren't those kinds of barriers that exist that would make one tend to want to go to a tour operator to help them, to hold their hand throughout the experience.
Given that backdrop, is the reality, if you like, on the street with travel agents, who you mainly sell to, I think, is the reality is that they're really focusing and pushing other destinations other than Europe, and particularly other than the UK?
Yes and no. The UK is much more difficult to sell, so I think that in and of itself is going to create a focus on other destinations. I don't want to give the impression that it's impossible to sell or that we're not selling it. We certainly are. But I think with any destination there's peaks and valleys, and when you come to the economics of the UK, that's the most important factor. Europe, as a whole, Europe is, I have to say, the most important destination for our company now. There is a great demand for Europe. In spite of the exchange rate increases with the euro, it's now where sterling was probably 5-6 years ago, and it was difficult for us then in the UK. And yet, the euro is not posing that much of a problem. Pent-up demand, the decisions Americans make to travel, regardless of the economic factor, prevail.